morning. I like it. As you see, Pastor Dale is not here this morning. He couldn't be with us. So me, Carrie, I'm going to be guiding us through our usual. And then Derek Horton is going to be preaching this evening. Or I guess, let me start over. So you're going to present a sermon this morning.
Nobody told me that.
Okay. Well,
I'll make it up.
you're winging.
I'll make it up.
We should talk sometime about preaching versus sermon. You know?
Yeah.
So we're all deconstructing, so we have to figure out what words mean now. Speaking of, this morning we're going to talk about belonging and what that might mean. So as we get started, I invite you to consider, what does it mean to belong? What does it feel like when you feel like you belong?
You're part of something.
Yeah,
To be accepted.
Are there any emotions that might go with that too?
To be comfortable with.
Safe.
Safe. So let me repeat what you said. So safe, to be comfortable with. What was it you said?
Okay, last time I kicked it, what did I say?
I heard be accepted.
Sorry.
The opposite of be sure.
Be sure.
Oh, I get it. So Sarah said, instead of be long, you be short. I like that. I like that. So, some ideas that came up when I was thinking about belonging. In a paper published by Cornell University, belonging is the feeling of security and support when there is a sense of acceptance, inclusion, and identity for a member of a certain group. A sense of belonging, this is a different author, a sense of belonging involves more than simply being acquainted with other people. It is centered on gaining acceptance, attention, and support from members of the group, as well as providing the same attention to other members. Even according to the Mayo Clinic, the social ties that accompany a sense of belonging are a protective factor, helping manage stress and other behavioral issues. When we feel we have support, and are not alone, we are more resilient and often cope more effectively with difficult times in our lives. Isn't that interesting? Even Wikipedia chimes in. Were it not so fundamental, then lacking a sense of belonging would not have such dire consequences for us. I hope that you feel a sense of belonging this morning as we go through our service. Our scripture this morning comes from Luke, the 13th chapter, verses 10 through 17. Jesus was teaching in one of the meeting places on the Sabbath. There was a woman present, so twisted and bent over with arthritis that she couldn't even look up. She had been afflicted with this for 18 years. When Jesus saw her, he called her over. "Woman, you're free!" He laid his hands on her, and suddenly she was standing straight and tall, giving glory to God. The meeting place president, furious because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, said to the congregation, 6 days have been defined as work days. Come on one of the 6 if you want to be healed, but not on the 7th, the Sabbath. But Jesus shot back. "You frauds! Each Sabbath, every one of you regularly unties your cow or donkey from its stall, leads it out for water, and thinks nothing of it. So why isn't it all right for me to untie this daughter of Abraham and leave her from the stall where Satan has tied her these 18 years?" When he put it that way, his critics were left looking quite silly and red-faced. The congregation was delighted and cheered him on.
I'm kind of hemmed in by stands, and I'm already here with a microphone. So are you cool if I just sit here for a sermon? Does that sound all right?
We stand over.
We'll do that. As Carrie said, Dale is skydiving in Belize today, so he's not going to be here to. That could be true. I think I know most everybody. My name is Derek, and I normally help with the music here and there, and on a very rare occasion, Dale lets me do this, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So thanks for putting up with me today. Leftover habits from my past lead me to want to pray before I start talking at you, so let's give that a try. Spirit of God, rest in this place so that either because of or in spite of the words that are said, the meditation of our hearts and minds is acceptable. Amen. "12 years ago, I went to seminary. And I thought I was going to be a pastor. And I even tried that for like 6 years. Was a clergy in the Methodist tradition. And then I got to see the underbelly of something that was really gross. Sometimes behind the curtain isn't very good. And was hurt really badly by some things that took place after my wife Sarah and I had promised that if something like that happened again, it was too expensive to stay and it was time to cut and run. That's exactly what happened, and I left in a soul-crushing, world-defeating way. I was left in a place where I didn't know who I was going to be anymore. Because when you're a pastor, it is different than most other jobs. If you're a full-time clergy person, it is your whole identity. When you go to parties just to hang out with other human beings, people change how they behave and talk around you when they find out you're a pastor. Sometimes when you're standing in line at Kroger and you just came from a protest, so you're wearing your clergy collar, people say their weird secrets to you. Sometimes part of your job is to answer the phone at 3 a.m., and sometimes part of your job is to sit next to a dying person. It is an all-encompassing identity. And there's a built-in level of importance to who you are. People listen to you when you say things. You matter in some people's world, and every pastor, if they don't agree to this, is a liar. That feels great to be important like that. So to just say, I'm all in. This is my life. This is who I'm going to be. And then to say, I don't want it anymore, is an impossible thing to navigate. and it leaves somebody really hurt drinking a lot of alcohol. And in my reeling, I said, what am I going to do now? So I went back to the one job that I really loved, which was this silly little place in Mason where kids come and play for an hour and then leave. A place called the Little Gym. And I went back to my friend who was still managing it, and I said, her name's Cassie, and I said, Cassie, I need a place to land for a little while, can I come work there? And the next day she invited me in to begin work. Shortly after that, I found myself running the location alongside Cassie. And to this day, that's still what I'm doing. And as far as I'm concerned, that can be what I do for the rest of my life. And what I found is that there are some places in the world that seemingly have nothing to do with the church that are doing far more ministry than most churches ever will. And I want to tell you a story about one person there that taught me a tremendous amount about love that I never felt when I was a pastor. Her name is Macy, and when I knew her, she was 3. And Macy is a part of a class that we call the Funny Bugs. And we have a large inflatable there that the children get to take turns jumping on, and the teachers will show them different ways that they're allowed to jump on this big inflatable. It's called the air mat. And each child gets to take a turn. There are 2 teachers that have to do this. One is at one side of it, inviting the children to come over and showing them which particular important gymnastic skill they're going to do on the air mat. And then the second teacher has to be on the other side, helping the child come down off of the air mat safely. And that's the job we want. The other one's obnoxious. The other job is just obnoxious. It's difficult. You have to yell over this thing, this blower that's blowing air, and you have to like contain these kids that are so excited they can't stand themselves. That's a hard job. The cool one is on the other side, because as the children jump off, it's like getting 100 little hugs. Because every time the child jumps off of there, you have to grab them and get their feet out of the ground. It ends up being 100 little hugs, and it's a wonderful thing. Macy got to the end of it, and Macy is special to me. I should back up. Macy is 15 now. The first time I worked at the Little Gym, I was out of college and I just needed somewhere to work, and that's how I got connected with it. When she was 3, though, the location of the Little Gym was changing, and she was one of the families that came along with us when we changed locations, and she was really important to me. So she was one of the first families to help establish this new business. And Macy would run in and yell my name and leap into my arms like every time she came in. And so when she jumped off of the end of the air mat, I didn't just get a little hug from Macy, she like bulldozed me, and when we fell over, she gave me a kiss. And the relationship that I had with her and over the years, many other children, is important to me because, first, I think if you want to make a difference in the world, you invest in young people. But second, because they are fearless in their willingness to love. Children do things without having to think about them. Adults have to put so much effort into doing the right and loving thing. Isn't it weird that children just know what that thing is? I don't know what happens to our lives between being 3 and being 38. I don't know, maybe churches hurt people. I don't know what the journey is, but I think we've got a lot to learn from those kids. One of the things that Macy used to do was yell my name when she would see me. And there's something about that that's magical. There's something we do at the gym where we force the people working there to know the name of every child they teach, no exceptions. Immediately, you need to know. Kids come in for birthdays, there's 30 people at this birthday, you know every last person's name, whether or not you've just met them. It is an important part of our job. I didn't do a lot of analyzing why that is until fairly recently, and here's what I think. Dale's talked about names before, naming things, when your name changes, those sorts of concepts in some of his sermons, and that's why. Because when you give somebody a name, you show them that you see them. You're offering them your full presence. I see you, you say to somebody when you call them by name. So what Macy did for me when she would shout my name is to say that she saw me. I had a professor in seminary who is gone now. She was really important to me. And she said, she was a pastor or a pastoral care professor. By pastoral care, we mean those late night visits or the dying bedside or the funerals or the weddings. That's pastoral care is a concept. And she was a professor of that topic. And she wrote several books about that topic, and one of the things that she said over and over again was that your job when you're caring for someone else, and I think this is true not just for pastors, but for all of us, your job in caring for somebody else, first and foremost, is to say with your behavior and your life, I see you. So, if we were to take her advice and we were caring for the world around us, the best thing that we would do, according to Emma, is to say to the world around you and the people in it, I see you. Like offering somebody full personhood, allowing them to fully be present in front of you. Okay, so the story from the Bible. I loved the version of it that you picked out. Here's a different one that sounds way different. It's also a fairly modern translation. One Sabbath, Jesus was teaching in the synagogue. Doesn't say that, I said that. And a woman was there who had been crippled by an evil spirit for 18 years. She was completely bent over and could not stand up straight. And when Jesus saw the woman, he called her over and he said, you are well. And he placed his hand on her, and once she stood straight up and praised God. The man in charge of the synagogue was angry because Jesus had healed someone on the Sabbath, and so he said to the people, each week has 6 days when we can work. Come and be healed on one of those days, not on the Sabbath. And then the Lord replied, are you trying to fool someone? Won't any one of you untie your ox or donkey and lead him out to drink on the Sabbath? Well, this woman belongs to the family of Abraham. But Satan has kept her bound for 18 years. Isn't it right that she should be free on the Sabbath? Jesus' words made his enemy ashamed, but everyone else in the crowd was happy about the wonderful thing that he had done. There's a physical miracle here, and those are hard things to deal with in our modern minds, right? I don't know what really physically happened with that woman that day. What I know is that when Luke wanted to retell the stories that he had heard about the life of Jesus, he included this one. For the writer, there was something about this story that needed to be told. And there is a physical miracle happening there where she's been, she evidently can't stand up, and that got fixed. But would you come along with me in saying maybe one of the bigger miracles is what Jesus has done for her by saying, you belong to the family of Abraham, about belonging. In other words, Jesus calls her by name. A very important name, because in Jesus' time, the Jewish people were being ruled by the Roman Empire and didn't have full access to their history and their past and their worship styles and the things that were important to them. And now, the only thing that they had was that they were descendants of Abraham. Very important. Inheritors, they were, of whatever promise Abraham was supposed to have. So when Jesus calls her a daughter of Abraham, he's saying you belong here. I mean, what was that woman's world when she was so bent over? A lot of asses and elbows, right? Could you imagine how actually physically overlooked that woman must have been? Could you picture her in the back of the dog while people were eating donuts and drinking coffee and gossiping, just walking around her? You could set your drink on her. How degrading would her world have been in a moment when there were not solid floors? There was a lot of mud and dirt. So much so that a common practice was to have a servant there to help clean your feet off when you went into important places. What did her world look and smell like? And how often was she physically actually overlooked? So what was it about that woman that made Jesus say, you know what, I'm actually going to stop what I'm doing right now and go over there? When he stood up with her, he invited her to be face to face, eye to eye with everybody else. They could not overlook her. Forced to confront their own indifference to her. And then gives her a name. You daughter of Abraham, you belong here. You're one of us. Jesus' miracles, all of his miracles, I would contend, are so much less about the physical thing that happened. Loaves and fish spreading out for people to eat, water turning into wine so the wedding party can keep going. These miracles are more about socially what they do. So why did Luke include that one? Maybe because of what was socially happening under the surface. Maybe one of Jesus' main things to teach in the God that day was that you should be finding people that need to be invited to stand up and be fully them. And stand up with them. So when Jesus gives this person a name, he's saying, you are a child of our promise. For us who are overlooked, I'm going to wait before I read this. I said us. Man, I'm a middle-aged white dude that owns a home and has 2 kids and a minivan and a secure job. I'm not one of the overlooked. Just own the intersections of my privilege right now. For those, that's how that shit started, who are overlooked, who feel unseen, not able to look our tribe eye to eye. We have a name and a place for you. You are made in the same physical substance as the stars. You have a place and a meaning in God's vast creation. You belong here no less than the trees and the stars. Creation needs you. And you have a name, a child of the promise, a beautiful person, a beautiful family member of Abraham's, of God's, of this universe. Even if you don't see, you have the right to stand up straight and look us all eye to eye, as we all need you. For those of us who are confident right now, that means find the person who's overlooked and be Jesus-y. Hold on to them and stand up with them and give them a name and a place in your tribe. And when you do, creation will be more complete. By Jesus' example, the right time to do this is right now. Here's what I mean by that. It said that Jesus was preaching in the Gog, and he stopped what he was doing and went over to her. This is not like a let's wait until Monday kind of thing. Jesus decided the right moment for that was right now. And that's the thing that pissed off the guy in charge, right? Because he was all, you can do that on Monday. And Jesus was like, this is an issue for this moment. I don't think we put off either being invited to stand up and feeling our own worth, or inviting others to stand up and feel their own worth. Their belonging, their inherent need to be. That, like Emma said, everybody has the right to be told, I see you. So I think we should do that. That's all. I'm going to stop talking right now. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's I told the band I was going to invite them to come back up at some point, and I didn't do that. They come on over, because this next song is about that. I know I should have turned the deal, so.
Belonging isn't a game of exclusion, Richard Rohr says, but rather a practice of love, vulnerability, mutuality, giving and receiving, forgiving and accepting. In other words, how do we let go of our expectations of others long enough to listen with an open heart and mind? Let us pray together. God, bless those who open doors with faith, with wisdom, with love, with peace, assuring that all people may worship here and be loved here. God bless those who feel excluded among us and outside of this place. Give them love. Give them rest. Give them the knowledge of your extravagant welcome. Open our hearts to move swiftly within your grace, to hear your message in silent words, in hurting eyes, in broken spirits, to glimpse your glory beyond our sight, in otherness and indifferentness, to find your wisdom in simple truths, love, acceptance, belonging, naming, to accept the weakness of our own, sometimes tainted quests for belonging. Let us join Christ in breaking down the many walls which separate us from one another, from ourselves, and from you. Amen. Some announcements for this week. This Wednesday, when?
Wednesday.
This Wednesday, yes. There will be an Ash Wednesday service. 7:30 p.m. right here. What time? 7:30. There we go. So this Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. And then next, so you'll see why I'm doing this. Next Sunday, a week from today, right here, we are not meeting at 10:30. We are meeting at 11:30. Yes, what time are we meeting? 11:30. Because I've already forgotten this several times, so I'm trying to help us remember. So this Wednesday is at 7:30, and next Sunday is at 11:30. Yes. So next Sunday, don't forget to bring all of your additional clothing items that you no longer need. Purge everything. This is for Transform Cincy, so it's our donation to them, and what they do not end up using, they will end up selling. So it's all going to benefit the ministry there. Call it a ministry. It is ministry, and that serves, but I don't know if they will call it that. I'm not sure. I don't know. Tristan Bond will be speaking next week to kind of tell us more about that program, which I'm very interested in. Then the following Tuesday, so we've got this Wednesday, a lot of things on the calendar. Next Sunday, bring your clothing, and then the following Tuesday is dinner church, which I'm excited about. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's at O'Charlie's on Field Zertle, and that will be at 6:15, so that's just a weird time. So I'm not going to mix everybody up. It's not a 30, it's not 7 or 11, so watch your emails for that. So we just feel like doing things at all different times. But I'm sure that's to give you enough time to get out there around dinner time. There will be a separate room for us to have dinner together. So that'll be neat. As always, it does take some financial assistance to help all of this keep going. So if you want to support the mission and purpose of the Open Table Community, QR code, cash box, and you can always set up one-time or recurring, thank you all, giving. All right, as we finish today, may you sense your belonging in the world and in this place and in the family of God and of Abraham. I invite you to demonstrate that sense of belonging that you yourself have experienced by accepting and connecting with others. But as you do that, don't forget to also allow yourself to truly believe that you also belong. It comes out of that overflow. So, we'll do our benediction. If you would stand, that blood flowing. As you feel your belonging and share that belonging with others, may you be brave.
Because I am a child of God.
But also be kind.
Because so is everyone else.
Go in peace and in the knowledge that you belong, and so does everyone else.